Before you start the timer, I believe Maggie's my evaluator, correct? And I'm going to be giving this speech Saturday, the 21st, I believe it is, on at Seasons 52. So that's the surroundings. Welcome, everyone. We come to retire Mike, not to praise him. It's a little paraphrase on Julius Caesar, of course. Another paraphrase for you. You is kind, you is smart, you is important, and you're good looking too. Esteemed colleagues from ExxonMobil, family, friends, and everyone who loves a love story with a happy ending. People ask, how did Mike and I meet? Well, let's go back in time to 1993. Both Mike and I had lost partners and became single suddenly. We were depressed. Dating, and I assure you, dating looks a lot better from the outside than it does from the in. But we were young, smart, good looking enough and successful in our careers, but quickly found out that men are pigs, but dating people sure love pork. So we didn't know each other yet. Fast forward to 1997, Mike decided to put a bulletin out on AOL. Of course, Match.com, cell phones, and other things didn't exist yet. But he wrote a bulletin, and it said something like, he wants someone who is as comfortable in a tuxedo as you are in jeans, someone who's family oriented, someone who is young, smart, good looking, successful in their career, someone to grow old with, and someone who's very rich. Well, I paraphrased that a little bit. He didn't say all that, but I showed it to my roommates and they looked at it and said, well, John Bull, you have to answer this, it's you. So I did, we met, and it took about a year before we decided that we'd like to date more. Ours was not a story of love at first sight. But I mentioned we were both busy in our careers. Mike was busy at Mobil at the time, hadn't been bought out by Exxon yet. And we were very busy, very happy in our careers. We were traveling a lot. And I knew that I had an in with Mike when I realized that Mobil Oil did not have an E at the end of Mobil. Everybody spells it that way. And while Mike was entrenched at ExxonMobil and I was at a company named Bound for a 20-year period, Mike stayed at Bound. Fast forward 5 years, I moved on to Vartech Telecom. Mike stayed at Exxon. At that time, Exxon bought Mobil. I worked at Software Spectrum. Mike was at ExxonMobil. I worked at Trailblazer Health Enterprises, Luster National, Central Market, American Airlines Center, and finally Frito-Lay, all while Mike was at ExxonMobil. Back a year ago, last February specifically, Mike and I were working from home. Well, prior to that, Mike and I was working from home when COVID hit. So I was in the bedroom on the phone talking to customers and everyone I worked with all day long. So if poor Mike had a phone call he had to make, it wasn't going to work very well. So he went downstairs to the dining room where he worked and got to see all the neighbors go by, and he knew who had what dog and what their schedules were before you knew it. Mike is a particular guy, talking about persistence and commitment. He's committed to details and he does it well. But after 6 weeks of that, he was able to go back into the office. After all, ExxonMobil was pretty sparsely populated, so there wasn't too much worry about tripping over another person. And he was glad to get away from the house and me during the day. Fast forward to February 2021, and Mike retired and then rushed back to the house. As it turned out, we decided to sell the house we were in as well as my rental house. So when Mike retired in February, I retired in April, we turned into contractors and got a big, healthy dose of what it's like to pin Jello to the wall and herd the cats of all the tilers, floor people, painters, kitchen renovators, etc., and get that to work. Well, after 6 months of that, we put our houses on the market. I was thinking a modest amount for the house, but the realtor, oh no, you can get more. Well, sure enough, I got 45,000 over asking in one day. Fast forward another couple months and Mike ended up with the same experience. While I had an as is, Mike's house was perfect, new, couldn't be better. And again, way over asking price, several bids in 4 days. So we experienced the opposite of what Elliot did. And we're just glad to get rid of them and on to our retirement and our downsized home and Heritage Ranch where we are now. Mike is a lover of pets. He is definitely a committed kind of a person, just as much as Christy perhaps, but he's committed to our pets. We've had 6 over the years. While he's stoic, he's tenderhearted, and I've seen him cry, mostly at the loss of the dogs or a touching life story on American Idol. People ask what Mike did. Well, I don't know. It's something to do with safety, security, stock market, some group called she or him, but he is dedicated and hard work and long hours to that. And if he told you what he did, he'd have to kill you. So while I don't know what he did, I know who he did it with. Some are here today while others couldn't be. One of his closest friends, Joanna Jones, who we knew, rest in peace. Her husband, Bill, is here today. Linda, Scott, and Suzette, both former ExxonMobil employees. Did you meet at work? I think there's a story there. Mark and Renita Parton, who enjoy theater and gourmet food even more than we do. Well, we went through shares of loves and losses with the animals, with jobs, with friends and family. But I found a note from his mother who passed away, and it's, "Thank you for taking care of Michael Peters. You are young, smart, good looking, successful in your career and rich." Maybe I paraphrase that too. Thank you, Mike, and congratulations on your career.